Hello and welcome. Let me just center myself here. Hello and welcome to Mile High Youth Corps' very first virtual job fair. I'm really excited to be here with everybody watching, and I'm really excited to tell you about all of the amazing opportunities through Mile High Youth Corps. So over the past month or so, because of COVID-19, we've really missed talking to you and meeting all of you at the normal job fairs we would have been going to. And today, our goal is to kind of replace those person-to-person interactions by allowing you to ask us questions, but also to make them even better by, through the magic of the internet, bringing in a lot of different voices from a lot of different perspectives of the program and giving you the full picture of the amazing opportunities you could have through Mile High Youth Corps. If you have questions at any time, please just put them in the chat, say hi down there, and maybe I'll call you on out. But before we can do anything much else, we're going to have to learn about what Mile High Youth Corps is. I'm going to do a short presentation for you guys that is about 30 minutes long that really goes through what we do, why we do it, and how you can join. And then I'm going to explain the schedule for the rest of the next 2 hours. So after that, we'll have another staff member come on and talk about the differences between our two sites. And shortly after that, we'll have an alumni panel where 4 different alumni from our program will share with you how Mile High Youth Corps has made a difference in their lives. To round out the virtual job fair, we're going to introduce you to some of our leadership this summer at both of our sites, people who could be supervising you in some capacity if you apply for Mile High Youth Corps. And then we'll just take questions and answers until the end of the 2 hours. I hope that you enjoy yourself today. And again, my name is Emily, and I am going to be your host today. So let's head on over to our PowerPoint. This is a PowerPoint that I usually give for young people, like in high schools and community centers where I'm promoting Mile High Youth Corps, and it just gives us a really brief and great overview of what we do and why we do it. Okay, so does anyone here, you can tell me in the comments, does anyone like to be outside, work with your hands, potentially camp, help your community, the people that you know and love, protect the Front Range ecosystem, bond with a diverse group of people, or earn scholarships? Pick your favorite and stick it down in the comments. Whatever your favorite off of this list is, I think everyone enjoys one of these things or more. I love all of them. And if you do enjoy one of these things, then you should serve with Mile High Youth Corps. We like to say that our work makes a triple impact on youth, community, and the environment. And I think that every day, everything that we do proves that to me over and over again. Shout out to Claire Morrissey for commenting down there. I see you, Claire. Thank you. And as you can see on this slide, this is one of our crews from a couple years ago. Just having fun, getting out there. I think the smiles on their faces shows you how they made an impact on themselves and made community. And we'll talk a little bit more about how they made an impact on the environment. Before we talk specifically about Mile High Youth Corps, I want to share with you that youth corps are not new, and youth corps are not something that only exists here in Colorado. So this is a map of the 8 accredited youth corps in Colorado through the Colorado Youth Corps Association, and you'll see the light blue area there is Mile High Youth Corps, the youth corps you're going to hear about today. But the idea of a corps goes back really far. In America, in the 1930s, we were going through the Great Depression. It was a very hard time, it was honestly similar to what we are going through now, but it was much more prolonged. And the president at the time came up with the idea of the Civilian Conservation Corps. The Civilian Conservation Corps was created with the with the idea of meeting two needs. The first need, maintaining our public lands. Public lands are everything from the park down the road that your city owns to our national parks and national forests, and even our roads and the side of the roads. Those are all owned by the public, by some sort of municipality, state, or government. And so the first need was that we had all these public lands that need to be maintained. And the second need was that in the Great Depression, there were a lot of young men specifically at the time that were unemployed and needed a paycheck. And so the CCC, or Civilian Conservation Corps of the 1930s, came up with the idea of putting those two needs together and hiring, again, young men only at the time, to work on the public lands. They made so many things, especially in Colorado. They made everything from Rampart Range Road to Red Rocks Amphitheater. And the legacy of the CCC lives on today. It lives on through youth corps. The youth corps are not something that is one united thing, although we do get together and share our knowledge with each other. They are local community nonprofits that recognize those same needs. So to maintenance our public lands and keep our ecosystems healthy, and to put young people to work. Today we still have a lot of young people that are out of work or need experience, need a paycheck, and want someplace that's inclusive. The great part about youth corps today is that we include everyone, not just young men, and we are all over the United States. If you're ever looking for an opportunity to get outside, I would look up a youth corps in your area. I think that you should join Mile High Youth Corps because you are watching this stream and you are already tuned in to the things we are doing. But I do want you to keep in mind that as I talk today, our policies and what we do isn't necessarily what every youth corps does. So get out there and explore. As you can see, we cover about 23 counties in southeastern Colorado. I also just want to shout out to Sam McCool, Alexis Chapa, and Callie Applet for commenting down there. I recognize some names of people that are in our interviewing and hiring process, and I'm really excited to meet you all. So we do land conservation. That can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Land conservation is an umbrella term for anything that we do that benefits the land. For us at Mile High Youth Corps, it means 4 really specific things. It means trails, habitat restoration, park development, and fire mitigation. So we're going to go through and talk about what we do. When we work on trails, we mainly do these things. We do some new trail construction, which is some of the most rewarding work that you can do, which is to go to an area that has no human impact yet and make a sustainable trail that will protect the ecosystem around it from being harmed and will stay there for decades. When we create trails and when we maintain existing trails, we like to say, keep water off the trail and keep people on the trail. And that's kind of the motto that we live by. If you've ever seen a trail that has been washed out by a stream of water and there's a deep gully formed there, you'll know that those trails are less accessible, they're less safe, and they're less sustainable. They're liable to turn into giant gullies that affect the area around them a lot more than a nice flat trail where water flows off. So again, we do that when we maintenance trails as well. We come in and make sure that the water is flowing well and that people are staying on the trail. We build things like rock structures and timber structures. If you've ever stepped over one of those, you should just know that they are made with human hands. There is no machine that can build a rock structure or a timber structure on a trail, especially not deep in the backcountry. And I think that that's amazing, how many rock stairs and timber stairs there are that were all made by our hands. Habitat restoration is the second category of things that we do. Under habitat restoration, the probably big bulk of what we do has to do with invasive species. If you've heard of invasive species before, you know that they are very, very harmful to our environment. They're species of plants or animals that come from somewhere else, and when they come to a non-native ecosystem, they can take over or just really hurt the balance of the ecosystem. A really great example of this in Colorado that we deal with quite a bit is a Russian olive tree. If you've ever met a Russian olive tree, you probably didn't like it. They've got thorns like this, and they drink up to 75 gallons of water a day. The reason that Russian olive trees are so harmful to the environment is that water drinking. They can drink up so much water and have such deep roots that they don't allow our native trees to get any water or nutrients, and they die. And also, they can drink enough water that small tributaries of creeks and rivers can dry up, and small communities that counted on those tributaries no longer have water, no longer have fresh water. So we do a lot of invasive tree removal and noxious weed removal. Not all invasive species or noxious weeds are the same or affect the environment the same, but it's the same idea when we do those things. We also sometimes do native planting. I was part of a willow project near a creek bed, and the willows were there to help the erosion of the side of the creek bed. I went back a year later and got to see those willows thriving and budding, and it was really rewarding. The last thing we do in this category is pesticide application. And I know that a lot of people might think that pesticides and environmentalism don't go hand in hand, but land managers across this country use pesticides to help them maintain the balance of a healthy ecosystem, and they are a tool that can be used responsibly to get rid of invasive species and keep balance in ecosystems. If we hire someone and think that they would do well on a pesticide application crew or as a pesticide applicator for their crew, we train them as a technician in pesticide application to be incredibly environmentally conscious. And that technician training can go with them on their resume and make a big difference in their career. The next category that we work in is park development. This is probably the most diverse category, and it's a big umbrella term that doesn't mean a lot. It could mean so many different things. So when we talk about park development, it could be anything from planting and mulching in front of a visitor center to fence repair to creating accessible trails around visitor centers or to historical monuments. We've done all of those things and more. And park development is really rewarding because when you're working in a park, you're usually working in a place that has more people, so you can see the impact that you're having on visitors right away. That's not to say all park development is where there's lots of people. Sometimes we work out on the eastern plains of Colorado where there are a lot of cows and plains, but some of this is really impactful to people and some of it's really impactful to animals. Oh, yes, if you get a chance to share this lovely live stream, hopefully people can jump in and find out a little bit later, see our alumni panel and see all the other exciting things that we have to say today. So if you have a second to share, take that time to say how much fun you are having in this live stream. Fire mitigation. This is the last category of land conservation that we work in, and I think it's probably the most exciting. Now, when I say fire, a lot of people think we're fighting fires, but really we work years on either side of fires. So we come in beforehand, and Colorado forests, a lot of them are too crowded and very unhealthy. When they're so crowded and dense, if a fire catches in that area, it's liable to get very hot and very uncontrollable very fast. And we want to prevent that from happening. So we'll come in and do forest thinning or hazardous fuel reduction and selectively take out some trees so that a thinner forest exists. And hopefully if that thinner forest did catch on fire, it would burn lower and slower and more controllable. And some of that vegetation would be left behind, and it would not burn so hot that it just completely scorched the earth. In some situations, those fires that are so hot and uncontrollable do completely scorch the earth. And when they leave behind, what they leave behind is literally nothing. They leave no roots behind to hold on to the topsoil. And something important to know about Colorado, if you're not here right now, is there are no flat surfaces. So all of that topsoil is always on a tilt, always on an angle. And it can cause really dangerous and horrific mudslides if it's left untreated. The other thing that we do is we come in for post-fire erosion control and revegetation and hold on to some of that topsoil with specific erosion barriers that can help prevent those mudslides. Okay, we do all of this amazing land conservation work, the work that we know that you as youth who care about the environment really want to do through 4 programs. So 4 categories and 4 programs. All 4 programs work in all 4 categories. So the first program is our Summer of Service. It's by far our most popular and biggest program, and it's definitely a favorite time of year for me. It's 12 weeks of land conservation where we hire 10-person crews. We hire 5 in our Colorado Springs or SFR location and 6 10-person crews in our Denver location for a total of 110 people that we send out for 12 weeks of land conservation. And that is full-time work through May 26th through August 14th. And those applications are open now. Summer of Service is a perfect way to get your feet wet in land conservation. If this just sounds exciting to you, but you're not sure if you'd like it, you just want to try it out, the Summer of Service is the best way to just dip your toes in, have some fun, earn a paycheck, and see what it's all about. And that's probably why it's our most popular program, because it's like a little taste of the best of land conservation. Our second program is Fall Forestry. It's pretty much exactly like Summer of Service, but it's in the fall, and it's 13 weeks of land conservation that runs from August through November. That's full-time work from August through November, and we run a few less crews during the fall. We run 3 in our Colorado Springs location and 4 in our Denver location for a total of 70 people that we employ in the fall. Many of those people are people that we're serving during the summer and stay over, but sometimes people apply just to do the fall without the summer. And those applications are not open yet, but they will open in June of this year, as they do every year, so keep your eyes out if you're not available till the fall. Our third program is probably the program that's closest to my heart. My dear LCLs, my land conservation leaders. So maybe you have dipped your toes into the waters of land conservation, or maybe you have experiences somewhere else that you know that this is something that you want to do and grow in. Maybe as a career, the land conservation leaders would be something that's more appropriate for you. It's an intensive program focusing on leadership development, and we take less than 10 individuals at each site to work from April through November. So it's a much longer season than either the summer or the fall. And those individuals work on their leadership throughout this time. They serve as assistant crew leaders to our 10-person crews during the summer, and they learn from a crew leader what it really takes to take 10 people, sometimes out into deep backcountry places, and care for their safety and deliver quality project work. And then in our fall, they graduate and become the crew leaders of our fall crews. And it really is this whole cycle from starting over here as maybe only having a taste of land conservation, but knowing that you like it, through assistant crew leadership to crew leaders, and by the time that they leave, they have the gold on their resume, which is to say that they were responsible for 10 people and made a positive impact on the environment. We love our land conservation leaders, and they're very dear to our heart because they spend quite a bit of time with us. Our last program is our newest program. So we used to only have our 3 programs, but now we have a 4th one. It's called our Winter Fire Crew, and it's very exciting because it provides a stepping stone, a true stepping stone between our Mile High Youth Corps programs and the actual professional field of land conservation. So they receive all the training needed to serve on wildland fires. They get training from the U.S. Forest Service in conjunction with training from Mile High Youth Corps and become wildland firefighters. And they serve on projects with the U.S. Forest Service, so land conservation projects and maintenance projects, until they are called to a fire. Once they're called to a fire, they become U.S. Forest Service employees and save our forests. 95% of participants that have been on our last 2 winter fire crews for the last 2 years have moved on into a federal job for federal or state job in fire or conservation. That is huge. It's very difficult to get a job in this industry if you don't know someone or you don't have a stepping stone, which is part of the reason that we have a program. And to know that when people go through that winter fire program, they succeed and they continue into professional jobs is huge for us. That winter fire program just runs out of our Denver office, and it is about 15 individuals that run from November through April every year. One of the requirements for our winter fire crew is that every individual who serves on it must have served a previous term with the Mile High Youth Corps land program. So if you're really interested in becoming a wildland firefighter and want to get all the training that it takes to be one, you might want to start by doing a summer of service with us so that you could come back as a wildland firefighter with us in the winter. Okay, all of our Corps members, regardless of what program they're in, earn a bi-weekly living stipend, which means that you get paid throughout your experience, no matter what your experience is. So for our summer of service and fall forestry individuals who sign up for just a 3-month commitment, they get $760 bi-weekly before taxes. And that comes out to 300 and... Oh, why am I doing this in my head? 80 a week, I believe. Check my math if I'm wrong in the comments. And for our LCLs who stay with us for a much longer period of time and are responsible for much more, and our winter fire crew, who again are responsible for quite a bit, they earn $800 biweekly. So that stipend is part of our partnership with AmeriCorps. And the second thing that all Corps members in Mile High Youth Corps get is enrollment in AmeriCorps. If you've never heard of AmeriCorps before, I hope you have heard of the Peace Corps. Let us know in the comments if you've heard of AmeriCorps before. I'm curious. This is always one of my favorite questions to ask. Okay, so if you've heard of the Peace Corps, that's when we as the United States send individuals overseas to help in communities that really need it. And AmeriCorps is when you stay home and help the community that you already live in. I'm really passionate about service through AmeriCorps, and I think it's a great way to spend some time giving back to your community. And we are an AmeriCorps program. So everyone enrolls in AmeriCorps, which means that they are earning service hours throughout their term. All of their work is counted as service hours. And at the end of their term, they earn an AmeriCorps Education Award. An AmeriCorps Education Award is just a scholarship that can be used for university, college, community college, training programs, certification programs, and even things like NOLS, the National Outdoor Leadership School, and Outward Bound have taken AmeriCorps Education Awards before. If you're not interested in continuing education, you can do what I did with my AmeriCorps Education Award and pay off your student loans. I have halved my student loans during my time in AmeriCorps, and it really has allowed me to feel a lot of financial freedom by earning 2 large AmeriCorps Education Awards. So, if you are participating in our Summer of Service or Fall Forestry, you can look forward to an education award at the end of your service that's about $1,600. If you're an LCL and you stay with us for a much longer period of time, you can look forward to about $3,000 at the end of your term of service. And if you are a winter fire crew member, you actually receive a little bit less at $1,200 at the end of your service, and that's because we want to be flexible and leave room for the number of fires that you would be called to. Once you are a U.S. Forest Service employee, you can't earn hours with AmeriCorps. So you only earn hours before you get called to that fire and after you get called to that fire. So we leave a lot of room so that those firefighters can go do their jobs. Courtney Darhy wants to know, are you able to earn multiple education awards through multiple terms? That is such a great question. Yes. So AmeriCorps does have a cap on how much you're allowed to earn through AmeriCorps. It's 3,700 hours. No, 1,700 times 2. What's 17 times 2 in the comments? 3,400, there we go. 3,400 hours or 4 terms, whichever comes first. So if you do 4 300-hour terms, then even though you're not at 3,400 hours, you would be capped out and no longer eligible to enroll in AmeriCorps. But for example, closer to what I did is 2 1,700-hour terms. And so even though I only did 2 terms, I was at 3,400 hours, and I capped out of my AmeriCorps education awards. You definitely can earn multiples though, and we've had people be really strategic about how long that they've served with us to really maximize those education awards to their max capacity. That's a great question. Thank you for telling me $3,400 3,400 hours in the comments. I'm sorry that my math skills are not so fast right now. All Corps members that serve with us also receive direct training and mentorship. Part of the reason that I am with Mile High Youth Corps after 3 years of being here is because I love the way that we give feedback in this organization. We do a really great job of talking to people directly about their strengths and their growth areas, and I love being mentored and being a mentor to everyone in this organization. Okay, and the last thing that all Corps members get is direct work experience in the natural resources field. Again, it can be very difficult to get a professional position in this line of work. Whether you've ever thought about being a park ranger or a wildlife tech or a wildland firefighter, you need experience to get into those positions, and this is definitely a job that can offer them. So I know that the last slide had a lot of money on it, but this is the slide that I think is most valuable of all of the things that we offer. We offer FaceTime with our partners. We work directly with the National Park Service, the Forest Service, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, which manages our state parks, and local parks and rec agencies to help serve their land conservation needs. And when you serve right next to someone who works for the U.S. Forest Service, or you meet a ranger at a CPW state park, they know you. They know that you've worked hard with Mile High Youth Corps. They're much more likely to just mention that they're hiring for a job, and maybe even be willing to sit down with you and talk to you about what they're looking for in that position. And I really think that that's very valuable. Many of our Corps members have leveraged partner relationships that they've made through the program to jobs in the future. Really quickly, I'd like to go through the types of crews that we have. So every 10-person crew is not built the same. The first type of crew that we have is a Sawyer crew. If you've never heard of a Sawyer before, I like to say that lawyers work with law and Sawyers work with, comment below what you think Sawyers work with. It's in the name. And they receive 1 week or 40 hours of an S212 wildland firefighter training equivalency. And that is it's an amazing training that is, one, very empowering, and two, industry recognized. So it's a wonderful thing to put on a resume. We look for focused and safety-conscious Corps members for this type of crew, and they mainly do invasive species removal, hazardous fuels reduction, and corridor clearing for trails. Okay, hand crew. That's pretty much our other type of basic crew. A hand crew is a crew that works with shovels and rakes and picks and sledgehammers and things that you would typically think of as non-mechanized tools, non-motorized tools. They receive 1 week or 40 hours of trail training with local trail institutions, depending on the site that they're serving at. And the thing about hand crews that's really cool is that they have a wide variety of different projects. There's so much you can do on a hand crew. You might be trail building, might be doing fence repair, rock work, park development, and every week might be different. Or you could have a project that lasts several weeks and be doing several weeks of trail building. There's a lot of variety here, and so we look for detail-oriented and flexible Corps members for this position. How do you apply? I know it sounds so amazing and awesome, and you just want to apply right now. That's great. The link is in the chat, and it's also at the top of the chat in the description. You go to milehighyouthcorps.org and click Apply Now. All of our positions are open right now. We're hiring for the summer of service and for some other positions that you can see there. And don't forget to follow all of our social media if you want updates on future job openings. We hire quite a few people every year. This is what we're looking for as a successful applicant at Mile High Youth Corps. But first, shout out to Callie or Kaylee for answering SAW. Good job. Yep, that's exactly what Sawyers work with. When we look for an applicant at Mile High Youth Corps, we specifically look for applicants that are between the ages of 18 and 24. Because of our AmeriCorps grant, we look to give economic opportunity and training to that young set of young people that might not otherwise be able to enter this field, and so we are age restricted in that way. We look for people that are able to work as part of a team. We send out 10 people to work with tools all day, sometimes to live and work out in the backcountry. And we need to know that they'll be able to work through the conflict that inevitably arises when you work together all summer. Willing to step outside your comfort zone and try new things. This is very important. If you are watching this, I assume that you like to hear about new things at least, and I hope that you would be willing to step outside your comfort zone and try something new this summer. And the last thing is strong work ethic and ready for hard physical labor in all weather. The reality is this job is very difficult, but it's also very empowering. You don't need to have very many skills at the beginning. I certainly did not. And you develop those skills over time, and that feels really amazing. If you apply, this is the hiring process that you would go through. You would be called for a pre-screen call, and it would just be some simple questions about if you are eligible or not and what your preferences are and things like that. So a pre-screen is probably about 10 minutes, and if you are eligible at the end of that pre-screen, they schedule a phone interview with you. All of our interviews right now are phone interviews because of COVID-19, but we still take that time to get to know you, and we really want to make those as great as possible, even though they are on the phone. Okay, a week later, or a little less than a week later after your interview, you'll get called and you'll either get an offer, a wait list, or not selected. A lot of people get offers in this program because we hire quite a few people. But if you're not selected, we're always willing to talk to you about why and give you feedback on what we experienced during your interview. And finally, if you have a conditional offer, you need to go through a background check, a drug screen, and fingerprinting to finalize that offer. I really don't want that to scare anyone away that's watching right now. We love people from diverse backgrounds and different backgrounds. If you have something that you think is going to be on a background check that's going to come up, I still encourage you to apply and talk that through with us. Definitely don't let it discourage you from applying. And after that, welcome to Mile High Youth Corps. That is the information that is true of our land program, and I'm really happy that I got to share it with you. Please feel free to ask questions if you still have questions. But the reality is that even though we are one land program, we are two sites. We are Denver and Colorado Springs. And Denver and Colorado Springs have a lot of different things going on. I think it's exciting to know those details so you can get excited for the job that you apply for. So I have brought on someone that is an expert in both sites. An expert because she has worked in the field and as staff in both sites. And I'm going to bring on your best friend, my best friend, Liz Cummings.
Hey, thanks, Emily. Thank you so much. And for those of you that are just joining us, welcome. Emily just finished talking to you all about what our land conservation program does. And I'm about to just go ahead and describe the differences between serving in our Colorado Springs office and in the Denver site. But first, I just really want to introduce myself. So I'm our senior program coordinator in Denver. I manage hiring, orientation, trainings, and I also support Corps members by using solution-focused methods and encouraging personal growth and development throughout the program. So I support Corps members as they finish their AmeriCorps term that Emily just described. So I started off at Mile High Youth Corps in 2017 as a crew leader. I'll go ahead and change my background so you can actually see the crew that I served with.
I love that picture.
I fell in love with the work, I fell in love with the people, but I also fell in love with the incredible impact that we make every single day. My crew is the 10-day camping crew out of our Southern Front Range office. So that's the Colorado Springs office that Emily was talking about and where she's actually located. And we spent time building off-highway vehicle trails for dirt bikes primarily. And you can see an example of, some of the locations that we've worked in right behind me. It was just an incredible place. I then transitioned to a staff role at that same office, and I supported our members for that whole entire year while they were out camping and working throughout southeastern Colorado at so many incredible sites, some of which I'll talk about in just a few minutes. And then at the beginning of 2019, I transitioned to working out of our Denver office. Which was a really incredible move. You know, I wanted to move back to the city. Colorado Springs is my hometown. And so, I felt a little bit of an itch to go and move somewhere new. And so then I moved to our Denver office. But I will just say, so I've been there for about a year and a half now. And Mile High Youth Corps, so that's 3 years total. Mile High Youth Corps has this incredible sense of community. The members, so that might be all of you watching right now, or it might be, something you want to do in the future. But, our members really care about the service that they're doing. They join us for all kinds of reasons. But, some of the things that I think really unite us all is that we care. We really do care about, trying to get the environment to be more sustainable, and we care about the people that we work with. And I also really think that the staff, so myself included, but the people that I work with are warm. They're really inviting to all of our core members. We're going to help support you through all the different challenges that you might face when you come to our program, and then also just celebrate all the successes that you're going to find once you join a program like this one. And one other thing that I really love about Mile High Youth Corps is just how inclusive this workplace really is. Anyone from anywhere is welcome and celebrated for their own unique personalities. And I mean, I just have never worked anywhere quite like that. So, all right. I hope that made you want to go click those links that Emily kept pointing out and apply for the positions that we have up right now. But let's go ahead and talk about the differences in the two different sites now. So Denver is where I'm working out of right now. And so I'll go ahead and start with Denver. The biggest difference between Denver and our Colorado Springs office is that we do day work. So the typical day is 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. And then at 5:30 p.m., you're released out into the world. You get to go home, you get to have a shower, you have the rest of the night to kind of do whatever you want, and you get to live in an incredible place like you see right behind me. The way that a typical day would look is that once you arrive to our headquarters in the morning, 7 a.m., you would meet up with your crew, gather your tools and materials, and then you would travel to the project site in a 12-seater van. So that is also a really fun experience. There's a lot of photos that come out of that too. So you can see something behind me, right? Everybody's having a good time on the way to the project site. And those project sites can be all over the place. Something that I think that people worry about a little bit in our Denver location is they're like, wait, Denver's a really big city, right? Like, how am I going to go see natural landscapes and get that like true Colorado experience if I'm working out of the Denver office? Well, let me just tell you, within 30 to 40 minutes of our Denver office, there are so many incredible landscapes, including the one you can see behind me right now. If you don't recognize this landscape, this is Red Rocks. Red Rocks Park is the location of Red Rocks Amphitheater, the incredible music venue that everybody always talks about. It's known across the nation and maybe even across the world. Built by the Civilian Conservation Corps, just like Emily said, and Mile High Youth Corps has the incredible honor of keeping this park sustainable for its millions of users. And we continue to do maintenance work at Red Rocks Park and invasive species removal at Red Rocks Park every year. So this is actually only 20 minutes away from our downtown headquarters office. And you can see it's pretty incredible, right? Other places that you might get to explore if you were to work out of our Denver office, we have a lot of different trails just kind of winding throughout the city. So here you can see this is the Platte River Trail. This is one of the places where our crews are going to be doing some Russian olive removal. And you can see behind me, there's that whole thicket of trees and stuff, and I can almost guarantee there's some Russian olive in there. So what we're going to do is go ahead and clear that out and make sure that all the water gets kind of through the streams, and it also makes for a little bit more of a beautiful environment as well. Another place that we might be, that we have worked in the past, and might be on the docket this year, but I'm not quite sure. I'd have to check with my project coordinators, but El Dorado Canyon State Park. So again, this is really close to our headquarters office, probably about a half hour, a little bit more than that, maybe 40 minutes. We are also going to work at Redstone Park. I think this is in Highlands Ranch. So again, about a half hour from our office. You can see it's incredible. Just so much green, especially in the summer. It's going to be a great place to work. One of our trail crews is going to be there. We might work at Rocky Flats, which is a place out on the Eastern Plains, but you do still get that incredible mountain view. And as you can see, somebody in the background, we do a lot of invasive species removal out there at Rocky Flats. And so I don't exactly know what plants in the background, but they might be doing some invasive species removal. And then another place that somebody might work, Genesee Park, right? This is only 30 minutes away from our office, maybe 45, kind of depends on traffic on I-70. You know how that can go. But a lot of our crews get to see buffalo, which are right behind me. So we have a lot of photos from crew members that have taken these with the buffalo in them, and that's a pretty cool experience as well. Our program is going to have 3 saw crews and 3 hand crews. So we're going to have an invasive species saw crew that's going to be primarily focused on getting that Russian olive out. We're going to have a camping saw crew. They're going to do a variety of things. They might do some invasives. They might do some fire mitigation. And then we're going to have a crew that's going to do mostly fire mitigation. And they're going to do it kind of up in the conifer area in Bell Park. Let me see. I think I have a place here. I don't know if I can find my photo, but yeah, they're going to be doing some work up there, making sure that, we have some fire mitigation. And then we have our 3 hand crews. We'll have a trails hand crew. And that trails hand crew might work in Boulder, Colorado, which is behind me, the Flatirons, right? Incredible place. We're going to have a habitat restoration and park development hand crew. And they're going to be doing all kinds of stuff in this area. This is Calwood Park. But yeah, they might do any number of things that Emily talked about. Park development is such a huge scope of work. And then we're also going to have that invasives hand crew. And so they're going to be making sure that we're restoring that habitat to its natural environment, getting those noxious weeds out, applying pesticide, getting those certifications to do that safely. And you being able to see your impact on these landscapes, it's just incredible. Okay. And then, yeah, some of our crews do camp. We'll have that camping saw crew, and 1 hand crew will do some camping. So even though we don't do as much camping as our Southern Front Range office, which I'm going to talk about in just a minute, I promise you that there could be an opportunity for you to get in that tent and go have some fun out in these natural landscapes as well if you do work out of the Denver office. All right, so I think that's it for Denver. Living in Denver is incredible. Culture of Denver is fun. It's exciting. There's so much to do in our state capital. It's a really fun place to work. It's a really fun place to live. But our Colorado Springs office is also a really incredible experience. And they're just different. They're just different experiences, even though we're one program. So let's go ahead and launch into that. All right, so biggest thing about our Southern Front Range office, they are camping based, okay? Exclusively. If you work in our Colorado Springs office, you will be sleeping in one of these bad boys for the summer, okay? So they got 4-day hitches. We call them hitches. That's where you go out camping, so camping trip. 4-day hitches or 9-day hitches. It really depends on the type of crew that you're on. So you would arrive for most of those crews on a Monday morning at our Colorado Springs location, and then you would camp for the 4 days. So Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and then you'd arrive back with enough time to, clean up all your tools, put away all your gear, go grocery shopping for the next week, and then you'd be released for the weekend, and you still get a weekend to do whatever you wanted to do. All the more fun, okay? If you're on one of our 9 crews, then you would actually start probably on a Wednesday and then go into the following Thursday, 9 days at a time with 5 days off, okay? So, it's a longer time frame. You might need more time to recharge. That's great. We're going to provide that to you. And there's nothing quite like going on one of those long trips. Like I said, I started as a crew leader in our Southern Front Range office with a 10-day camping crew. So I know what it's like. You build the best friends in the world, and you build incredible relationships. And then you're able to get so many great skills. And those camping skills are also something that really take you a long way in life. Our sites in the Southern Front Range office can be up to 4 hours away. So you saw that map that Emily showed. We work in southeastern Colorado, and that can go all the way down to the Kansas border. All the way over to the Kansas border and all the way down to the New Mexico border. We also go a little bit west as well. So you can think about the Spanish Peaks, San Isabel National Forest. We work down there as well. So let's go ahead and show you all some pictures of where you might work if you worked in the Southern Front Range office. We've got our Rampart Range area. So this is going to be the Pike National Forest. This is where our Trails Strike Team crew is going to work. Oh my gosh, this is also where I worked, although I worked in a slightly different area. It is so beautiful. And if you want to think about what like Colorado wilderness really feels like, this is going to be the experience. So the Trail Strike crew, that's a longer term crew. They're going to go from May all the way through November, and it's a 900-hour AmeriCorps term. So you also get a slightly larger AmeriCorps Education Award as well. And that crew is going to be just doing roving trail maintenance through all of this behind me. Pretty incredible. This is also the Rampart Range Road behind me. So again, Pike National Forest, the South Platte Ranger District. This might be an area where that, any number of this Southern Front Range crews are going to work. Our Southern Front Range crews are also going to work in spaces right on the top of Pikes Peak. So this is taken kind of behind and down a little bit lower in Pikes Peak, but their Women's X Crew, which is an inclusive crew of female identifying Corps members, trans women, also non-binary folk. Really encourage you if you want that experience of just being on a crew with like-gendered individuals. It's a really empowering environment where we can just build trail. They're going to do a reroute of trail that summits Pikes Peak, and you get to see some of the incredible nature behind me. And then also, let's see, another place that they're going to work, or that our Southern Front Range crews are going to work, Fisher's Peak State Park, Colorado's newest state park. I'm going to try and get out of the way here so you can actually see the peak. This is down near Trinidad, and it is going to be a really great place to just start building sustainable environments for our Southern Front Range crews. All right, so where else? They also work out on the Great Plains. They also, the stars out there, when you go out on those eastern plains, kind of in eastern Colorado, and you're on one of these Southern Front Range camping crews, the opportunity to just take it back, look at the stars, it's something that you've never seen. If you've never seen the Milky Way, you might get to see the Milky Way if you work from our Southern Front Range office. It's a pretty incredible experience. And as long as it's safe to do so, get that fire, get that camp experience with kind of everybody sitting around the fire. That's a really incredible thing. And then this is a picture from Fall Forestry in our Southern Front Range office. So if you're able to kind of work through the summer all the way into the fall, then you have the experience of getting to see the aspens change, which is one of the highlights of living in Colorado, I think, being able to go see those aspens change.
Hey, Liz.
So, yeah, Emily, do you have some?
Where did those tents in that picture come from?
So we are able to provide a lot of gear to anybody that might need it. And so if you're somebody that's like, man, I really want to camp, but I don't have a tent, the tent behind me is an REI tent that our office can actually provide to you for free. So you would check that tent out at the beginning of the season, keep it in good condition, go ahead and use it throughout the season, and then you would check it back into us at the end of the season. So that's an awesome question. Yeah. Do you have any other ones before I kind of plow on through?
No, not any others right now. Just that there's another tent right behind you as well, like behind your body.
There totally is.
Yeah, there you go.
And
That's the tent.
Up.
We also have plenty of gear in the Southern Front Range, like sleeping bags, sleeping pads, and anything that you would really need to get going. If that's an obstacle for you, please don't let it be an obstacle for you.
Yeah, definitely. Another part of camping that I think a lot of people have questions about is, what about food? So food is what keeps our crews running. That's what fuels us, right? And if you're on a camping crew, Mile High Youth Corps is going to pay for all of the food that you're going to eat. And we give our crews a budget, and then you all meal plan together as a crew. You go and buy the food together, you prepare the food together. It's a very communal experience, and we are friendly to all kinds of diets and any kind of restrictions that you might have. So if you feel like, I'm scared, I'm vegan, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get good food while I'm on these camping trips because I know not everybody is vegan, hey, don't worry about it. We've had crews, all of our crews are so inclusive. And they're going to be able to, just kind of rally around you and try out new vegan recipes. And we actually had a backcountry crew that hiked in all their food that ended up going vegan for a little bit just because one person was and everybody else wanted to try it. And I went out and was out with that crew, and they had some of the best food I think that I've ever seen out camping. So
Quandary 2018. Quandary 2018, we're calling you out. Yeah. You had the best food that I've had in a while. Like the
so
consistently
incredible.
Best.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. Those are the main differences between our Colorado Springs office and our Denver office. I don't know if I missed anything, Emily, feel free to call me out, but so now you know what our programs do. You know the differences between serving in the different locations. You've met Emily and I. Next, we'd like to go ahead and transition to an incredible video that introduces you to Mile High Youth Corps as an organization, because we really are more than just the land conservation program. We are one of just several programs that are offered at our location, or at our organization at Mile High Youth Corps. So while we load the video, Just please be patient. There could be technical difficulties, although we've run some practices. It's gone pretty smooth, and Emily is a wizard now. So go ahead and stay tuned, because after the video, we will be chatting with some of our alumni and crew leaders to talk about their experiences and why this is probably the best, most incredible way that you could be spending your summer.
I also just want to encourage you to keep asking questions in the comments. We promise to answer them and just to interact with you. That's why we're here live today. Instead of pre-recording this, we want you to ask us as many questions as you have.
And the video, I believe the video is about 5 minutes long. Is that right?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay.
So we're here at the base of Pikes Peak, one of Colorado's most frequented mountains. This is our office. We get the pleasure of coming out here every day and getting to work with our hands and work with each other and build a new trail. And we have about 10 amazing young women on this crew. Mile High has given me a new perspective on the idea of land conservation. It's also given me the opportunity to start my career in natural resources.
Providing access and opportunities to young adults at a critical stage in their lives through the vehicles of service, conservation, education, and self-awareness has a triple impact on our world.
Mile High Youth Corps is an amazing program that offers youth like a second chance. I dropped out of high school. I wasn't doing very well, and I had no idea what I was doing. One day I happened to come across this flyer, and it said that they're offering students to get their GED and to learn a profession. I didn't think that I was ever going to get my GED. I didn't think that I was going to have able to get a career. I didn't think that any of that was possible for me. And this program has provided me with so many opportunities. I'm on set to take my state exam to become a CNA, a certified nurse assistant.
We met these amazing people at Mile High Youth Corps, and we've worked really closely with them to establish a relationship that will allow their health and wellness crew to simultaneously work on their high school equivalency and get a certificate in nurse aid through the state of Colorado. The things that I've noticed about youth coming from Mile High Youth Corps, they're very studious and they work harder than any of the other students I've had.
I was one of the founding board members of Mile High Youth Corps in 1992 when a small group of us led by Josie Heath met for weeks and months about how we could create something in Colorado and in Denver that would enable the young people in our community to demonstrate how much value that they could bring to our community through service if given the opportunity. They were gaining the skills that would serve them in their future, not only for their personal lives, but as leaders in our community, fulfilling their obligations as stewards of our environment.
So what we're building here is low-income apartments for the elderly 55 plus. It's impacted us just knowing that we could help them have somewhere to stay, have somewhere affordable to stay. Just having the hands-on experience with the electricians, the plumbers, it's been an all-around great experience, and I think I want to do electrician work,
The truth is, virtually all young adults are trying to figure out who they are, what they're good at, and to build a life forward for themselves. Mile High Youth Corps helps them do just that.
I've been with Mile High Youth Corps since 2016. I started off as a Corps member in 2016. Right now I'm the field technician for the energy and water crew. Something that I've learned here is conservation awareness. I don't think that was available for me, that I'm actually gained a lot of passion for it. We actually just started the Sawyer Crew this year in January, and it's something that is pretty exciting for Mile High because it's a new way of conserving energy. Mile High Youth Corps has impacted me by giving me the knowledge and teaching me the importance of conservation and being able to have those conversations confidently.
I was part of the Youth Build program in 2009-2010. Before this, I was messing up. I was running the streets, I was hanging out with the wrong people. I ended up in jail. I heard about the program through my probation officer. That's how I got in contact with Mile High Youth Corps, and they gave me a good opportunity to become someone in life. I've been an electrician for 9 years, and I've been a foreman for 4 years.
What you see here is the Buffalo Creek burn scar. It happened in 1996 and took almost 12,000 acres. And this is a perfect example of what happens when there isn't fire mitigation. I joined the Mile High Youth Corps because I was looking for an opportunity in land conservation. It's more than just fire mitigation. It ensures clean air and clean water and a healthy forest for wildlife, habitat, and all Coloradans to enjoy.
I'm Bridget McGrath, and I invite you to join the Mile High Youth Corps family in creating a triple impact on youth, communities, and the environment.
Emily's trying to say something.
Oh, okay, so we might have been muted that whole time. I was talking a lot, and I did not know that I was muted. I hope that I did not lose anybody in the chat, and I will just repeat myself now. I apologize to our lovely alumni who I'm taking up the time of. I'm so sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. Okay, great. You should be able to hear me now. I'm hoping that you can. Thank you for letting me know that I was muted. I just want to thank everybody for watching that video. It always makes me feel really inspired to see people I know in high definition talking about inspiring things. And I am now unmuted according to the chat. Thank you very much. The other thing that I want to say really quickly is I want to answer Caitlin's question about when they would know about their crew assignments. So we take your preferences into account as we move through a pre-screen and an interview, and we traditionally don't let you know until after the first week of your orientation, once we've really gotten to know you. But sometimes we will let you know before that if we think that we need you to prepare by buying the proper boots or the proper gear, or asking you if you have that gear in advance. Shout out to Michelle Learmouth for commenting hi. And also, we traditionally do that in a really silly way. Last year we did a sorting hard hat that let everybody know what cruise they were on, but we sometimes do it differently. I want to welcome these 4 new faces that you see right here. These 4 faces are our alumni of the program. They've all been through this program, and they all have chosen to stay involved with the program after leaving. And I just want to thank them for their time today. And I want you to meet them as soon as possible. So if you guys could just go around and say your name, your pronouns, when you worked with Mile High Youth Corps, and what position you served in. I know that's a lot at once, but name, pronouns, when did you serve, and what did you serve as? I'm going to pass to Jorge first because he's right next to me.
Hi, yeah, my name is Jorge Palacios. My pronouns are he, him, his. I served with Mile High Youth Corps summer of 2017 and 2018, and then also from like March through August of last year. Yeah, I was a Corps member for my first summer, and then I was a crew leader for the last 2 years. So yeah.
Great. Let's just keep it passing. Afterwards, you can pass to anybody. Rafa is right below me, so let's go there.
Yeah, my name is Rafa. I go by he, him, his pronouns. I served with Mile High Youth Corps in 2013 and into 2014. I was in what was called the AmeriCorps Leadership and Conservation Program, which is now the Land Program. And then I served as a crew leader for the Energy and Water Program here in Denver.
Great. Jackie, let's hear from you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jackie Curry, and I was a ACLC, AmeriCorps Conservation, AmeriCorps, yeah, that whole bit. What is now the LCL program is what I was in 2016 as an assistant crew leader. And in 2017 through the first part of 2018, I was on staff as the administrative and outreach associate. And my pronouns are she, her, hers. And is that it? Did I cover everything?
I think you got
cool.
it. I think you got it. Throw into Becca if you're all set and good. I know technology is terrible. I'm so sorry for technology.
Yeah, sorry, my Wi-Fi keeps cutting in and out. Okay, so my name is Becca. I go by she, her, hers. I started with Mile High 2017, fall of 2017, and I ended in spring of 2019. I have had quite a variety of roles. Started as a Corps member for the Land Program. Then I did some staff recruitment work. Then I came back as a crew leader for the summer for a Land Program. And then I came back as a on the fire crew. Is that all the questions? I've now completely
Yes, that was perfect. Thank you. I just wanted everybody to know the vast experience that the 4 of these alumni have and really get a picture of that. Liz, do you have a question?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I think I just wanted to say, like, so I've met all of you, almost all of you, and I'm just like, it's incredible to see you again. I can't wait to hear a little more about what you're all doing now. I think our next question for you is just, what was your favorite part of your service term with Mile High Youth Corps? So I know many of you, if not all of you, have served multiple terms at this point. So maybe what was just part of your service that's just so memorable and that you go back to?
I think if you have something to say, just unmute yourself, and whoever gets there first, that's the panelist that talks first.
I'll go.
Okay.
I'm going to go first. So I think my favorite part there are lots of different things that I truly enjoyed about the program, but I think for me as an individual and how I like to work, I like things to change and I like to switch things up a lot. And I really appreciated with the land program that we were working in different places like every couple of weeks or every month or so. And you weren't always in the same place doing the same thing every single day, every single hour of every single day. So, and just really bonding with my crews. I mean, every crew that I got to work with and every individual I got to work with was so uniquely different. And it was just truly an eye-opening experience to really bond with someone who you've never met before. And then by the end of your term, you're like, we're going to be friends after this. So yeah, I think it's just those friendships and the change in scenery.
I'll go next. I think part of it is just, you're going to be doing some hard work and it can be challenging and there can be moments where, I don't know, you're being challenged and there's so much team camaraderie. There was a season where I was working in the same spot doing very similar work every single day, unlike Jackie's experience, but we played games, we had fun, we were joking with each other. And at the end of the day, it's like, even though I maybe just shoveled dirt for 10 hours, I had way more fun doing that than I ever did sitting behind a desk doing something else. And I think that's something that I really enjoyed and valued from this program is like, you could be doing the most boring, mundane thing, but it's the funnest thing you'll have done within a job because of who you're working with. You do some weird stuff and you bond.
It's great. Yeah. Playing those games. I mean, you got like those games, just the energizers, like throwing contact around. If you've never heard of a game called Worm before, there's a worms involved. There's also shovels and digging involved. Go ahead and, maybe look it up. It could be, but Rafa, I think you were going to go next.
Yeah, thanks, Elizabeth. So my favorite part of the experience was, again, the people you meet, not only from part of your crew, but then in your communities as well. I had so many people during my land conservation term, random hikers come up and just talk to us and ask us the work we were doing. And to be able to communicate that back and just be really proud of it was a great feeling. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone has said more or less sort of the stuff I'm feeling. I've gotten to work with some really, really incredible people, and I've gotten to work and spend multiple weeks doing the same project at the same time. I've done a wide variety of stuff all across the metro area. I've worked most of my experience at Mile High. I was working with a chainsaw as part of a chainsaw crew, but the diversity of work that has been doing, helping with invasive species removal, kind of cutting trees that were bad for the ecosystem in the middle of a populated park in Metro Denver, or out in Staunton State Park, helping with building fences and doing all sorts of removal of hazard trees, and also trees for that are mincing my words. Words that are trees that are hazards because of some of the fires that we've experienced here in the state. So it's been a really cool diversity of work, a cool diversity of people, all sorts of experiences. My 3 summers that I've worked for Mile High have all been very different, and I'm grateful for all of them.
I would say that pretty much echoes every Corps member that I've met. Those are some of the highlights of Mile High Youth Corps. I just want to say, yes, thank you so much for your thoughts. I have a question for you, which is just, have you learned anything during your time at Mile High Youth Corps that has informed your future goals or decision making or career path, just informed your future in some way, and maybe even changed your future in some way?
I'll go. Yeah, definitely. I kind of alluded to this before, but having a job that was outside, hands-on, physical, I'm definitely more of a hands-on learning person. And I think there was this idea in my head for myself and for maybe other people that in order to have like a real job, I'm behind a desk and I'm working really hard, except that's not true. Like, this is a real job. Well, like, you can turn this into a real job. And I had a desk experience. I went from a core member and I went to a desk thing, and I just realized, that this fake idea I had in my head of what it meant to being a grown-up and adult was false and was just making me unhappy. And so I went back into the land field, and I realized, I had this idea of wanting to be a park ranger kind of as a kid, and it wasn't something that I took. I don't know. I just didn't really know that much about it, but then I worked towards that as a goal, and that's what I'm doing now. So that wouldn't have happened if it hadn't had been my experience from Mile High in the field and in the office.
I'll go next. I think Becca's story is a really good one to piggyback off of. So yeah, I think just from my experience within the program and performing conservation and restoration projects with Mile High Youth Corps and outside of Mile High Youth Corps before my term, but then going through the land conservation program, like, it really solidified for me, like, very similar to Becca, like, this is what brings me joy. I like hands-on work. I like to get my hands in the dirt. I want to rev a chainsaw and cut down some Russian olives for 10 hours or something. And I realized this is what I want to make my career. And it is very possible to make that a career. And I've been doing, since my term as a core member and as a staff member, I've been doing restoration project management and coordination with some pretty popular names across the Front Range, like Volunteers for Outdoor Colorado. And I'm currently working for Wildlands Restoration Volunteers. And I get to do what I love every single day. And I got that training and experience from Mile High.
Kind of a different pathway for me. I participated in the program back when the program combined some energy and water conservation work in Denver with some of the land management work in the Front Range. And what I got to experience was just a profound connection to other human beings in situations that I'd never expect. So the water and energy program for Mile High really connects with people in marginalized groups. So when we were going into these homes, you had to challenge your own beliefs and your own understanding to serve these people in some conditions that made people uncomfortable, including myself sometimes. So that really opened my eyes up and brought me to the point where I've committed my life to serving and trying to change the way that people experience life in the US. So right now I'm working with an organization that helps nonprofits run more smoothly so they can serve more people and then ideally change the world. So
I think as someone who didn't go on to do sort of the sort of work that we do here at Mile High, at least in the land program, I still think I got, did my thing freeze? Oh no.
Oh no, you're good.
You're good.
I think you're good.
Am I frozen? Did I freeze?
We can hear you.
Oh, now you've frozen. Yeah.
Okay.
But we could hear you the whole time though.
Oh, cool. That's good to
You're
know.
good.
Yeah, no, as someone who didn't go on to do kind of land management work or land conservation work, I still think I got a lot out of my experience at Mile High. I think especially like being in like a leadership position, I learned a lot about like wanting to work with other people, wanting to work with like young people. That was like a big focus of what I wanted to do. It definitely opened doors for me in ways that I was not expecting. My job right now, which is working with kindergartners, was a job that I got partially because of like a weird Mile High connection through our founder was had also done some work with America or NCCC, and the person that hired me had been on their crew and like knew all about Mile High Youth Corps and had been to like some of our events and was like, oh, great. I'm definitely going to call you back for that, which was wild. Very different like kinds of work, but fundamentally like a lot about working with people and caring about like these issues and having an understanding of what all this looks like.
If I could add one more thing before we move on to the next question, I think truly at the end of all of it, I've learned that like I'm a strong, capable human being, and I can do whatever I want to do, as long as I'm putting in the effort for it. And you get what you get out of you get what you give into the program. Does that make sense? Did I say that right? And I think as long you can, you come out of it so much stronger mentally, emotionally, physically. And as long as you're putting in the work, you're going to get something out of it.
For sure. Exactly. You get something out of it, and everybody's experience was really diverse. I feel like I really related to Becca's experience just because my mom still thinks that I am a camp counselor, like just chasing my dreams of being like a camp counselor professionally, but I am making a career out of this and just really feel that. So yeah, great. Thank you so much for sharing. Liz?
Yeah, so a couple things. I just wanted to shout out Heather Hurd is up in our comments, and she wanted to thank you all for all your experiences. So Heather's still thinking of you and just really appreciates that all of you are here right now. For those of you that don't know, Heather is our director of manager of HR and compliance. So she gets to interact with all of our members, everybody that comes through our doors. So she's near and dear to our hearts for sure. And I also just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about what Jorge mentioned. So like just how much staff and like everybody at Mile High really cares about you and wants you to succeed. And you don't have to move on to natural resources for us to want you to like still fulfill all of your hopes and dreams. But certainly if you do, we have slightly more connections. But even as Jorge's experience shows, we're all over the place. We've been in Denver for 27 years. So, Boulder and Denver. So we are able to pull on those deep-rooted connections in the community and be able to support members with networking opportunities. And in Colorado Springs, we're building those as well. And we have several different partners down there too. So our next question for you all, what advice would you have for brand new Corps members, some of whom might be watching right now? What do you think?
So I think kind of what Jackie just finished mentioning is the key to everything, right? You've got to lean in and open up, because if you don't, it's going to be a really hard time, but also you're not going to get the full benefit from it. It's really, really difficult work, but the people you do it with and the way you feel afterward is just, you can't compare it to anything else. So just lean in, accept the pain because it's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it. It's awesome.
Okay. I would say, like Rafa, just being comfortable with the uncomfortable, I think was probably my motto for my Corps member year, because you're going through so many different new experiences that will likely be uncomfortable since you've never experienced them before. And just really giving into it and just like giving that free fall to the situation and knowing that you're going to come out with something learned, and really, and with that, taking advantage of the resources that Mile High Youth Corps provides you. So talk to Jason, talk to Monica, and talk to Xavier, talk to whoever you need to talk to in order to get the things that you need. Utilize the food pantry. Do you need someone to look over your resume? Go over a mock interview with you. So just take advantage of the people and the staff at Mile High Youth Corps, even the ones who are sitting in the building each and every day and aren't outside in the field with you.
I'd say, definitely agree with what everyone has said so far, but just be proud of yourself in those small moments. I think sometimes like you just lifted this, it could be something like you lifted this several 100-pound rock with your coworkers and you only moved it half a foot. But like, that's hard work and you should be proud of yourself for doing that. Sometimes I think like the whole big end picture can seem so far away, and just looking at those small things, for me personally, that's huge. But then also being really proud of yourself when it's done too. It's going to be hard and you're going to have a lot of fun with your, core members and stuff, doing those hard moments. But, and then I would say like, go back to your projects that you've done afterwards. I think that's super cool to go hiking and go check on this rock wall that I spent 3 weeks building, and it looks super cool now and it's still working. It was a success, and all that hard work and sweat paid off. But yeah, just appreciate the small moments too.
Yeah, I would say like my advice for this job and this like line of work is my advice for most jobs, kind of like it definitely being open and also like remembering to never forget to ask questions. I think that like the more that you can possibly, like, especially with like a summer of service where it's like it has a specific end and start date, like being able to like go in and like just learn as much as you possibly can, I think is great. Like you'll meet people that have all sorts of interests and knowledges about like a ton of different topics. All of your project partners, if they're like available, like they're going to be a wealth of knowledge in regards to what they do, which is like land management. And you'll learn stuff that you like didn't ever think you would know. I learned way more about beavers from one particular project partner than I thought I would ever need to know. And it's still fascinating. And I'm, saving up to get that beaver tattoo. Even still, I love him. Beavers are great. Beavers are great. That's my advice.
I love that. That's super
Wait,
cool.
I have one more thing. Can I add
totally.
really quick? I'd say also just don't be afraid to ask for help. I think the crews that have been the most successful in the projects that we have completed and been proud of, no one was afraid to ask to like lift a rock or whatever physical task it might have been. You bond more as a crew and you work harder, and in the end you end up becoming like more friends, and it's supportive and you just have a better experience in general. So yeah.
Definitely. I quickly want to shout out other people in the comments sharing very similar experiences. Erica Claire, Zia Ren, and Miyabi have all been talking about empowering feelings and how much stronger they felt after their season. And I also just want to reflect what both Jackie and Becca said around asking for help. Staff at Mile High, including myself, spend so much time trying to be available for core members, and you're never bothering us. We want to be available for you. We want to help you. And maybe we just haven't figured out the way to show that yet, or be available at the right time or the right place. So let us know. Great. Liz, is it you?
Your turn to ask a question.
Totally lost track. I was just listening too intently to you guys' all of your stories. Do you have something unexpected that you learned about yourself, or just learned, like the beavers, during your time at Mile High Youth Corps, about yourself or just about the world in general?
I'll go for sure. I don't have to go last every time, I guess. I've learned, I learned, I came into Mile High and I was not expecting to get put on a chainsaw crew right away. I actually came in with like a very serious fear of chainsaws. So like, overcoming fear of like all sorts of stuff, like, through educational activities and other stuff, like getting over like a somewhat important fear of like public speaking and like, also I think there's like being afraid of like being confident in your like own capabilities. And, I've kind of learned that, like, kind of similar to stuff that Jackie and Becca have said earlier, like, I feel like I am capable of the work that I do and that I've done. And that I think that's very surprising. You come out with like a, man, I could do this, which is dope, which is incredible. Also, shout out to Claire. She texted me to call me out on my serious mic. So thank you for that.
It is a very serious mic.
So one unexpected thing that I learned, and it's going to sound a little weird, but my love for data and measuring things, because oftentimes you're tapped to like help track your project and like how you've done your progress that week, whether that's building X amount of whatever of trail or how much you're removing invasive species, how many trees of Russian olive you've cut down. It just really made data feel real. And now I work for a company that like helps build up databases for nonprofits because I am a geek for data. So that was something I didn't expect to learn from Mile High.
Okay, so I mean, I kind of already said this, but it's just my idea, my perception of what a real job changed. Or I think I maybe always wanted that to be my real job, but my parents and society were like, no. You know, seasonal stuff is really challenging. I've done seasonal jobs the past 3 years now, and it's hard to piece it all together. And I've done, you know, a pretty good job of being able to do it and make it work. And it's just surprising to me how many careers existed that I didn't even know about in natural resources that were exactly up my alley and something that I wanted to do. And I would never have known about it if it weren't for my experience at Mile High. And that they are all valuable and real careers and things that you utilize all the time. Like deers did not just run around and make all the trails, you know? So I learned that.
I guess for me, I'm kind of circling back. It was just me figuring out that I am so much stronger than I think I am mentally and physically. And that I truly just like, this is my passion. And within the passion of conservation and restoration, I have another broader hope and goal to just engage more people in the community within the outdoors, and specifically, and I guess not even specifically, but especially with underserved communities and communities of color who may not have access to these types of areas or just haven't done things like this before, but they're curious, but they just haven't done it. So I've learned that my passion truly lies within conservation and focusing on engaging more and more communities within that.
Thank you all so much for your thoughts. I loved all of those. I feel like Beavers still takes the cake as funniest. But yeah, we're going to go a few minutes over, but if you're okay with it, we still have one more question that I'd love to ask. Okay, cool. Go for it, Liz.
Awesome. Okay. The moment so many of our future Corps members have been waiting for. What do you think is the funniest memory you have from your time with Mile High Youth Corps? The time that just made you laugh. I mean, like rolling on the ground probably because you're out on the trail or whatever. But yeah, what was it?
I got mine. So this was in the fall of 2016. So I was an assistant crew leader for a forestry Sawyer Crew. And I don't remember where we were exactly, but we just had a long day. The sun was setting and we accomplished everything that we wanted to. And so it was fall and like leaves were falling obviously. And there was huge piles of leaves everywhere. So we just made like leaf snow angels, and we were working by a creek. And one of my crew members picked up like a crawdad from the creek and then just like stuck it to his nose, or like pinched his nose and just like walked around with it for like a minute or two. I don't know where that came from, but that was the first one that came to the top of my head.
Oh my gosh, love it. Love it.
So this isn't like one specific memory. It's more of just like a constant thing for my crew when I did land conservation. But it was all the sing-alongs that happened in the car to whatever music was playing. We laughed the hardest, just random songs, whether it was like a hard metal song or like pop or whatever anybody wanted to play. We just had fun with it, and it was great.
I can always tell those crews, man, when they roll up in those 12-seater vans and the music's blaring and you can see the people in the windows just like going up and down. I'm like, that crew's had a good time. Yeah.
Jorge's crew.
Okay, I can go. I have a couple. Well, I feel like whatever crew I was on, we were always talking like weird accents. We were always perfecting like our Australian accent or German. But one memory that came to my mind immediately, and I don't know if Claire's listening still or not, but I had found this like tiny Barbie doll hat. And I carried it around, and there's policies about what you can and can't wear at Mile High. So Claire had come into the field with us one day, and I had asked her about the hat policy, and the sun's really hot, and I wanted to know, I had gotten this big sun hat or something, and I wanted to know if it was appropriate per Mile High's policy, and she starts. So she did her job great, and she was just like telling me what you can and can't have, and then I was like, well, okay, well, does this hat work? And I pull out this like tiny Barbie doll hat, and it kills me. I did that to so many people, and it was excellent every single time. Sorry, Claire.
Oh my gosh, and for those of you that don't know, Claire's our project coordinator up in Denver. So I'm the program coordinator, and we also have a project coordinator. So we think about it as like people and projects, even though we both work in both. So yeah, we're both kind of running around, and Claire's the other supervisor of all the crews. So that is hilarious, Becca. Like if you'd come to me, I would have done the same thing. Like, oh, I don't know, like, what kind of hat are you thinking about? Like, and then just like.
I'm having a hard time thinking of like one really good story because there's so much wild stuff that's happened. Just like fun interactions with there's been a lot of weird interactions with staff. But I think my first year doing Mile High Youth Corps, we would roll in every day at like 4:00 in our 12-passenger vans, and we'd be blasting like lots of Latin music, and we would be trying to we have to unload our vans every day, and so we would be having like a dance party with music blaring while trying to unload like chainsaws from the back of our van. And shout out to Cody Brancuccia, who is the whole reason that started, because that man doesn't know when not to dance. Love you, Cody.
I hope Cody is watching just for that moment. Okay, that was so great and heartwarming to hear from everyone. And in the comments, can you please give a huge thank you to these alumni who gave and donated their time to just share their fun stories with you. I really appreciate that all 4 of these individuals are really involved with our organization. We have something called the Alumni Council. And raise your hand. I think all of you or some of you are on the Alumni Council. Yeah. So, and they just give back so much, and we really appreciate it. So thank you for coming today, and I hope you tune into the rest of the stream, alumni. If you are watching right now, we're going to have some of our current leadership come on next and ask them some questions. So just give us a minute for that transition, and again, thank the alumni in the comments.
Thank you so much, y'all. It's been great to see you again. Blast from the past. Thank you.
It was good to see you all. Thanks.
Yeah. Hi.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you. I did my very first job fair ever with Becca. Wait, you're over here. Very first job fair ever. And now I am hosting a virtual job fair. So the evolution.
You're killing it. You're killing it, Emily.
Thank you so much, Becca. Okay, great. So we'll see you guys later. Goodbye. 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 Oh, okay. Great. Come on in, Cordell and Casey. So now we have transitioned fully, and we have transitioned to bring on some of our current leadership at Mile High Youth Corps. So on right below me, we have Casey. Casey, give a big wave. I'll let you introduce yourself. Works out of the Denver office. And then over here we have Cordell, who is going to be working out of the SFR office. And they are some of the people that could be leading you in the field and in the office if you come work with Mile High Youth Corps. I think it's really important for you to see these faces and see that everyone that you work with is going to be as wonderful as us, Liz and I. So we're just going to jump right into it. Could you just introduce your name, your pronouns, and just briefly summarize your experience with Mile High?
Yeah, so my name's Cordell Cadlick. My pronouns are he, him, his. I have been at Mile High for going on about a year now. I started last season as a crew lead, and I was one of the Sawyer Crew leads. It was probably one of the most enjoyable experiences that I've ever had, and it was just such a fun season, and I learned so much.
Yeah, my name is Casey Lane, and my title for this year is Senior Returning Crew Leader, which is a new position for the year. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I started with Mile High in March of last year, so I've been here for just about a year now. Yeah, I'm really excited. I was the crew leader on 2 hand crews last summer and the fall. So yeah, both were really great.
Awesome, great.
Sorry, Casey, that we didn't give you a background. I mean, gosh, Cordell's coming up here, getting all fancy.
Cordell just got fancy on us. It wasn't leaving you out, I promise. Great. If you could just briefly summarize what is it you both expressed right away that you're just really happy to be back and you're happy about your time, but what is it that you enjoy about working for Mile High Youth Corps?
So for me, there's a couple of things. It's the community that you develop when you're with a group of people for days on end. You're living, you're cooking with them, you're working with them, and you develop this camaraderie that is unlike anything else that I've ever experienced. And on top of that, you get to go on so many fantastic adventures with all of these people and create these memories and build these fantastic friendships and relationships with people that is just, it's undescribable how amazing that is. And then on top of that, you're learning so many new skills, so many new things about where you live, tons of different environmental ideas that you may not have thought about before. And it kind of gets you thinking about what you can do in your everyday life to help kind of increase your impact on making the environment better. And then for me personally, it's also about teaching the next generation of leaders. It's something that I'm passionate about, and it's something that I love doing. And being able to be a part of someone's developing leadership skills I can't describe it. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm going to echo a lot of what our alumni said and what Cordell just said. Working with Mile High, I've just had so much fun. A lot of the feedback we've gotten is that coming to work is also a really social event with Mile High, and that sometimes after work or on the weekends, you don't even feel like you need to do anything because you had such a blast with your coworkers during the week. And I definitely agree with that. Every day I wanted to come to work and I wanted to see my crew and the other crews and the other crew leaders and say hi to staff and make a joke to Liz that she might not understand because it was really sarcastic. Yeah, right over Liz's head every time. It was really great. But
don't do it. I don't do the sarcasm. I try and play along, like I really try, but yeah.
And what Cordell said, just being able to take these young environmental stewards and teach them about trail work or chainsaw work and really get them involved and help them develop their leadership skills as well. And I'm seeing that now. Like, I think 5 of my previous Corps members are coming back in leadership positions this year, and I'm really excited to watch them grow as leaders.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean it's incredible to see what people do as they like move through. I mean, you two for sure, but all of our members. I mean, I think everybody just changes and like grows. So okay, thinking of like the new things, the changes, like everything that happens to you during your term. I mean, we heard from the alumni about what some of their funniest experiences and memories are, but for you two, what was one of your most memorable experiences? Could be funny, could just be impactful, but what was the most memorable thing from your past term or your experience with us?
So for me, it would have to have been a job we did last summer at Two Buttes, Colorado. It's this little oasis in the middle of absolutely nowhere that you don't expect to find. And you travel out east into the plains, and then all of a sudden there's this little peak in the middle of the plains. And at the bottom of that peak, around that, there's a little reservoir with some, with a swimming hole and fishing and, just this little tiny bit of paradise that you don't expect to find in the middle of a field. And that whole trip was probably one of the most memorable experiences I had, because we went up to the top of the Two Buttes peaks right at sunset, and everyone just sat there and just watched the sunset that you could see for hundreds of miles all around you, and look up and see the Milky Way and see so many stars and see shooting stars and satellites, and just being able to sit there and experience that with people that I wouldn't trade for the world.
That sounds like an awesome place, Cordell. I should check that out this summer. But I think my favorite memory from my last two terms was probably my birthday. This was the first birthday that I've spent like away from my hometown and my parents and my friends, and I was feeling kind of iffy about it. So I spent the whole day at work, and we ended up in a thunderstorm pretty bad. So we were in the van all together, and my crew like secretly brought out this little chocolate cake that they had been like hiding in someone's backpack. So it was like all melted and kind of like squished up, but we just like started eating it with our hands in the van while we were waiting for the thunderstorm to be over. And then I was on an overnight crew staying in a house in Boulder. So once we were back at the house, they made me tacos and we all hung out and listened to music, and they really just made me feel a lot better about being away from home. And they also secretly surprised me with goldfish crackers that they had been like saving and hiding. So they're my favorite snack to eat for lunch. And they had like gallons of them hidden in the house waiting to give them to me. So I really appreciated. Shout out to the Pathfinders for helping me celebrate my birthday last year.
I think it's really the little things. It's like when someone keeps that last Oreo for you and you're on a 9-day hitch and you only have that one pack of Oreos. That is world making in Mile High Youth Corps land. So I really, really get that.
It's always food. It's always food. Even on the day.
It's usually food. It's usually food related. So I guess I just want to just roughly, I think that we have covered a lot of these benefits, and I want to recap some of those for people that might have joined halfway or something like that. What are some of the things, what are some of the benefits that come with working for Mile High Youth Corps? What is the reason to go apply at our Apply Now link? Why do it?
I think a large benefit of working with Mile High is just the sheer fact that you get to be a part of such a big impact on not only the environment, but the people that you're surrounded by. If all of the projects that we do, they are for the community. They're for everyone you live by. They're for everyone that visits this great state. It's for the people walking down the trail that want to see the river. It's everyone around you. You make such a deep impact on everyone. The feeling of at the end of a project, the accomplishment that you have, it's amazing. It's something that hits you right at home, and it's like, I did this. I was able to help my community. I was able to help the environment and be a part of something so much bigger than myself.
I think one other great benefit of Mile High is being able to wear overalls to work every day. You can't always throw on your Carhartt overalls and go into like a business office, but Mile High, they support the overalls, which is really great. But another great thing about Mile High is that the staff is really looking out for you. If they have an opportunity that they think is really great for you, they'll kind of set it aside and see if that's something you want to pursue. Last summer, we had the opportunity to send a crew to Arizona to do some disaster relief, and the staff was able to pick out some Corps members that they thought would be really great for that project, and they kind of hand selected this really great group of Corps members to drive down to Arizona and make a big impact there. So if you're working really hard and giving it your all, there's a lot of opportunities that the staff can find for you that you might not have been expecting.
I love that. I think you summarized it perfectly. Shout out to CJ for making Cordell's life in the comment and shouting out his past crew, Red Cloud, as the Summer Olympics champion last year. And also CJ is one of our staff members. So just shout out to CJ in general.
Perfect. Okay, one thing that I really want to hear from both of you about, because I'm not sure we got a sense of this from the alumni, even though they've served multiple terms, just like you two have. I want to find out, why did you come back? I mean, we've talked about, this is a hard, challenging experience. It pushes you, and I know there's incredible moments in there, but why the heck do you want to do it again for, a whole nother year? Both of you are signed on to go through a summer or longer. Why are you back?
I would just like to preface by saying you get paid to camp in the Southern Front Range, at least. You can't get better than that, in my opinion. But the other thing that I really enjoy about this is that I wanted to work outside and I want to do something that matters. I want to do something that helps the environment and helps the people around me. And this is the best of all of those worlds. And I can't think of a better way to have that kind of experience with some other organization around me. This is the cream of the crop, in my opinion, for being able to work outside, do something impactful, meet some amazing people, learn so much about the world that you live in, and just be a part of something that's important. It's the reward of that work, that hard work, that impact. It's just I want more.
Yeah, totally agree, Cordell. But I think for me, I just had so much left to learn. I did 2 hand seasons last year working on trails, and then I got the opportunity to get my chainsaw certification in the winter, but really only used it for 2 days. So I have a lot of chainsawing in my future, hopefully, and a lot more to learn about saws and saw maintenance. But also in my new position, I have a lot to learn about the behind the scenes of Mile High and how everything runs from the office standpoint and how it transitions into the field. So shout out Claire for really taking me on for this new learning experience.
Okay, that was so great. I hope that if you are watching right now, these 2 lovely leaders have inspired you to come work with them in the field this summer. Is there anything else you guys want to add before you leave our viewers and we move on to just some pure Q&A?
I would like to say that if you are on the fence about wanting to use chainsaws or go hiking and build trails, there's an opportunity this summer to do that. I will be the leader of what is called the Strike Crew, which we get the best of both worlds. We get to run chainsaws and we get to build trails. And it runs from May until November. So you get an even bigger education award on top of that, and you get paid for a longer period of time. So I would very much like to see some people apply for that job, and that's going to be where I am. So I'm looking forward to meeting you.
If I wasn't in my position, I'd be doing the strike team, I think. So that sounds really great. That's my number 2 if I wasn't in this number 1. So yeah, definitely apply. It's going to be a really fun summer no matter what. So jump on board.
Great. Thank you so much. So everybody say thank you to Cordell and Casey in the comments for coming and spending their time with us. And Liz and I are going to stay with you and answer any of your questions that you have about Mile High Youth Corps. No matter how crazy they are, we want to hear what your thoughts are, your feedback, your questions in general. Right now, I just want to shout out Niabi for participating in the comments and asking what the Summer Olympics are. So the Summer Olympics are... They are at the end of our summer season. We get all of our crews together and we have silly games to compete against each other to find really the crew with the most team spirit and cooperation. And they get a weird trophy with the crew name on it. And it's just a grand old time to celebrate a good summer of service.
Oh my gosh, I have a picture of that. If you'd like to see it.
I would.
1 second.
Red Cloud reigning champions.
Thank you for gloating down there. Thank you so much for joining us. You guys can head back to your normal lives now, but keep up in that chat because it's going to be real exciting in there as we answer questions.
Thanks for having us.
Have a good day.
And here is one of the crews winning.
Yes. That's Snowmass winning in 2018. They are very, very happy about winning the Summer Olympics. You can see Summer Olympics. You can see they made a flag for the Summer Olympics. It's just a good old morning of field day fun. I also want to shout out CJ really quick for reactivating her Facebook to participate in this. Go CJ, reactivating your Facebook. You can deactivate it again after this. What's this picture behind you, Liz?
That is a great question. This is Bell Park, Colorado, where some of our Corps members are going to be doing some forest fire mitigation. You can see behind me, look at how dense that field of trees is. I mean, they are just packed in there. And if a wildfire came through there, it would be just really, really terrible. And we've got a town nearby, right next to Bell Park. It's the town of Evergreen, I believe. And so one of our crews is going to go on and just thin this out and make sure it's a little more safe for the residents and also, a little bit better for the environment as well.
One of the projects I'm most excited about in SFR this summer is fluorescent fossil beds. We worked there in 2018, and then we didn't work there in 2019, but this year we have like 13 weeks of work, I think. Don't quote me on that, but a lot of weeks of work with fluorescent fossil beds. And I'm just excited to go back there. Every time we work with the National Park Service, they take really good care of us and give us so many cool educational activities to do. And last year we got to work right up next to these fossilized tree stumps that are millions of years old, repairing fencing around them. And I thought that was really funny. Really fun.
Yeah.
And funny. I just want to encourage anybody that is still here to keep asking us questions. We're going to be here right up until 4 o'clock to answer your questions. So we got 8 minutes to just, what is your best memory? What, ask any questions you'd like.
We have a question from Courtney again. I guess they were wondering about our Go Wild crews. I do believe they're still hiring. And it's a different program than the land conservation program. So our Go Wild crews are going to be going out into the communities, traditionally communities that don't have a lot of access to the outdoors, or they have significant barriers to accessing the outdoors. And they'll be doing a lot of outreach for Mile High Youth Corps, but also a lot of outdoor education. So I think that crew is still hiring. Am I right, Emily, about that?
Yes, Go Wild is definitely still hiring in Metro Denver. We have other programs that are totally hiring, and we're going to have more virtual job fairs for them. But those programs that you saw highlighted in, what was I going to say? The programs you saw highlighted in the PSA are also open for you to participate in if that's something that you're interested in. I do see in the chats, though, that Darius, who runs the Go Wild program, says that they paused hiring for Go Wild, so I was wrong. But I think that they are planning on continuing it at some point, and you can still apply online. The application is still up. We have a great question from Sam McCool here, who has asked, you showed the map of all of the districts covered in one of the first few slides. Do you ever work on land outside that drawn out area? Very rarely is my answer. So you saw on that map, I think I can bring it up again if you want, But you saw on that map that we work with many other youth corps in a coalition called the Colorado Youth Corps Association, and we have specifically drawn those lines so that we really don't compete with each other at all. We have our own parks and our own national forests to work in. We love our other youth corps in Colorado and work with them to share information and make our programs the best possible programs. So we try to stay in that area. That's not to say that there aren't special circumstances where, especially if a county doesn't have a youth corps that works in it yet, we would potentially work there. Although usually the reason that we wouldn't is because it's very far away, and doing projects that are very far away poses extra complications.
Yeah, and one thing is like, this really just ties into the culture of AmeriCorps and the culture of youth corps, right? Where it is a crazy supportive environment. And that's not just like the crews, the crew leaders, the staff that you work with, but even, to the bureaucratic level. So Colorado Youth Corps Association, we all work together. We're all trying to benefit public lands. And in that case, like if we got a project to work in another area, we'd actually go to that corps and we'd be like, hey, this is in your zone. Like, have you heard about this opportunity? You should go and check this out. And we'd actually, in most cases, that project work would go to that corps in that area because we just want to support them too. So, I mean, it just really top down, bottom up, all of it. It's supportive. It's cool.
We have another question here from Haley, who joined late, but is worried about some of the county roads in certain counties of Colorado are closed to non-residents right now, and wondering if that'll affect project work this summer. Liz, you can take that, but I also have an answer if you have thoughts.
No, I mean, I think we're working really closely with all of our partners right now, and our project coordinators. We mentioned them, Claire and CJ. They are phenomenal humans who are just running all over the place trying to make sure that the logistics for this can get ready for the summer. And, in the event that one of those county roads was closed or something like that, maybe that's not the best partnership or project for that moment. We might delay that project a little bit later. Or, there might be circumstances where, we might have a special exemption for that. Emily, do you have more to say on
just that some trail work has been deemed as essential in the state of Colorado as long as we're following proper social distancing. Our summer of service doesn't start till May 26th, so we're not sure what COVID-19 will look like at that point, but hopefully some of those county roads will be open by then, and we're committed to running a safe summer of service. So if for some reason we can't go into an area because of concerns like that, we probably would not. The other thought that I had was just that our project partners, sometimes, there's lots of ways in that maybe the public doesn't have to a park, but we often go in the back or the side because we're working in remote areas and we're a work crew.
Yeah, and we're trained to do that, right? So crew leaders have leave no trace training, so we make sure we have the most minimal impact as possible. And so that we're treating those places in a very delicate way that maybe the public just hasn't been educated about yet.
Definitely. We got one more question. Michelle, shout out to Michelle for asking a question. Thank you. I can apply even if I live out of state, right? Yes, you can definitely apply if you live out of state. We are focused on serving our local community, but we always accept out-of-state residents for our summer service. I will say that one of the requirements for serving in AmeriCorps is to be a U.S. citizen, national, or lawful permanent resident, and that's just because the federal government partially funds AmeriCorps and wants to make sure that we are funding American citizens.
Great question.
Yeah. Wow, there are a bunch of questions just came in. I'd really like to be part of the Sawyer Crew because it sounds challenging. Good to know, Alexis, because I am the person who hired you and gets to decide that. But if I decided it wasn't for me, would I be able to move to the hand crew? Yes, if it was a safety concern of your emotional or physical safety, we would move you. But I will say that I think you can do it. I feel like Liz is going to say something really inspiring right now. She's very good at that, so I'll toss it.
Oh, okay. We're switching over to me. Yeah. How about this? I think, so I started on a hand crew, but I was also trained as a Sawyer because we needed to clear corridor when we were building a brand new trail. And I am a person who has some experience with some power tools, but I had never touched a chainsaw before. I am not that large of a human. I just didn't think I was that strong. And so I was like, you want me to do what? Cut down like 100-foot tree? No, just kidding. It's probably close to 30-foot trees. But I found that there is just nothing quite like that experience of, having the adrenaline going. You're safe, but it is a high risk situation. And so you've got a lot of things going through your brain. And then when you feel that tree fall and you realize like, this is a big moment. And look what I just did. Like I'm leaving a really great impact here. I mean, it's sad that a tree had to, get cut down for that. But at the same moment, it's like, I'm capable of so much more than I ever thought I was capable of. And that's what chainsaws do. They're loud, they're powerful. They do seem kind of scary at first. But once you start running them, you realize that just like any other tool, as long as you are respectful of that tool, it's okay, it's safe. And I promise you that we wouldn't put you out if we didn't think you were going to be safe using that tool.
I have two other things that came up while you were talking. I was thinking about my chainsaw experience, and I just want to say that I started Mile High Youth Corps very, very weak. I was hired for my organizational and slightly my interpersonal abilities, but not my strength. And that actually made me a successful Sawyer. When I went through my first Sawyer training, I had to put down the saw like every 5 feet. My arms hurt so bad, and I was trying my absolute hardest, but I was pushing myself farther than I had ever pushed myself before. And what I found out was that it didn't matter how strong my arms were. It mattered how much I paid attention to details and how much I paid attention to safety and how much I cared about what I was doing. And like, I'm actually a little emotional because I love the fact that being careful and paying attention to safety is what made me a good Sawyer. And I love running a chainsaw now. So we have a bunch more comments to quickly run through here. We're getting towards the end of our 2-hour job fair, but I'm so glad that you guys are participating. For people interested from out of state, do crew members ever go in on housing together? Yes, actually, we both, Liz and I, work with Corps members to connect them. So I'm working right now with Corps members in our SFR office who have applied and been accepted into the program to connect them so that they can get housing together. I do that through a brief survey that I send you, and I ask you what you're looking for and how to contact you, and then I send that information to someone that is also looking for the same thing or has said that they have that to provide. But that's a great question.
Yeah, I think it's also really important that, like, if you're thinking about moving out of state and moving to Colorado and you're trying to look for housing and things like that, definitely look at all of the different options and think about what you are really willing to do for the summer, right? So for some people, you just want an apartment. You just need, a short-term lease or whatever to get you through. And it's like any other living experience, right? Other people want to find roommates, and they might be new roommates. They might be strangers, right? They might be people they haven't met before, but they, feel comfortable doing that. Some people try to camp the entire summer. It's definitely not the experience that I would, go ahead and recommend right off the bat. It takes a very special type of person to be able to do that the entire summer. But that's something that some people try and do as well. But we definitely connect people. If finding housing with another person through Mile High Youth Corps is going to be something that's the most safe and comfortable for you, I think I've already started sending out some emails to connect people who I've already hired, and as we continue to hire people on, we'll continue to do that. So.
Just some quick shout outs here. So shout out to Charlie Strickland, who has served with both Liz and I. Shout out to Kelsa for helping connect people today. Is Charlie in that photo?
Charlie got cut out of this photo, but
no!
This is Charlie's foot, actually.
Oh, right. No!
I know, it's such a bummer, but that's his foot, which
shout out to Claire, our project coordinator and other title in Denver, who says there are also other tasks on a saw crew besides running a chainsaw. Team #chipper, team swamper, team pesticide application. That's very true. If you're not comfortable running a chainsaw, there's other things to do. There's always work to do.
Thank you,
on overnight projects. Oh, hi, Bailey. Bailey has been accepted into the program. Do Corps members ever have or need to share a tent? No, unless something tragic has happened to your tent, and even then we would try to make sure that you had your own tent, especially considering concerns around COVID-19. We are implementing a policy that Corps members should not be sharing tents. In the past, it's been a little bit more optional. So if you joined us in the past, that's changing because we'd like to be proactive about disease prevention. Team spotter. There's so many things to do on a Sawyer Crew, according to our project coordinators. Is there anything set up for out-of-town CMs to live together for the Denver metro region? Something similar to what you're running in SFR? Yep, Liz is running the exact same thing in Denver. I just explained it in a different way. Jorge. Oh, met one of his best friends, most fun roommates through MHYC. They don't live together anymore, but they play D&D together. Well, we are getting really close to the end of 2 hours, and I am so glad that you guys have chosen to interact with us through this virtual job fair, and I hope that it's been informative to you. I hope that it's been useful to you, and I hope that it's been fun for you. Liz, do you have anything to add?
Gosh.
You look so peaceful with the trees in the background.
I would just say, I mean, this is an incredible place to work. Colorado, but also Mile High Youth Corps. You know, if you're on the fence, just dive in, just do it. You know, I'm obviously biased, but this is going to be a life-changing experience. Almost every person that I've talked to, it changes something pretty significantly in a good way, mostly. So, yeah. That's all I can say.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And if you ever have any other questions, you can email us at youthjobs@mhyc.net. Get in touch with us through our Facebook page. This video will be posted to Facebook and YouTube. Our information is out there. We have posted our website with the applications at the top of the chat, and we love questions. So even if we're not in a virtual job fair, please contact us with your questions. We hope you all have a fantastic day, and...
Yes. I just want to say, right now, especially in both Denver and in SFR, we are really looking for people that are interested in those trail crews and the hand crews. We're filling up really quickly on our chainsaw positions, which is actually pretty amazing. But I do say if you're kind of wondering, like, you know, the differences between the two crews, you want to know more from us, definitely reach out. We're hiring for the trail strike team position. Just want to shout that out. That's going to be a phenomenal experience. Please apply for that. And yeah, we still need more Corps members for our women's X crews as well. We are also running one in Denver. And yeah, that's going to be a really empowering experience too.
You put so much information in there. All of that information is on our website. Thank you so much, Liz, for sharing. And I hope that you have a wonderful and safe day.